Too bad we are the witnesses. Maybe we're the participants too. Do you need anything? No thanks. Everything I need is already there. And what I don't have, you can't help me with. Will you read my fortune? Choose where I should open the book and read a line. What my words mean to you. The dead will come and tell, and he will not be believed. Visitors claw out from the earth and walk among us. Every night, another person arrives at our door, and we are tasked with being the gatekeeper to determine whether we have let in the sheep or the wolves. The signs of the false are varied: white teeth, red eyes, dirt under nails, blurred photos. We can't let them in. We can't let them kill us. The dead will come and tell. Too bad we are the witnesses. No, I Am Not a Human is essentially a proof of concept, along with a couple of other gems, such as All Along the Twin Tower, a vintage Rubber Hose S-styled side-scroller where you're trying to escape without dying, Sensation, a point-and-click collecting game where you play as a paparazzi, and of course, I Ate Old Man's Liver and Now This Bitch Is Mine, a game where, honestly, it's kinda just an experience you have to witness for yourself. This assortment of experiences is tied into a lovely package for seriously cheap, in VHS Anthology. Here, I'd like to focus on just one that made me buy the anthology in the first place, the one that most people know it for. No, I Am Not a Human. The setting is vaguely Slavic, but the style is something so enriching and absorbing. The music, I've seriously listened to it 1,000 times. It is timeless and just so amazing. Perfect background track for nearly any time, in my opinion. The game is segmented into two parts, the day cycle and the night cycle. During the night, we must answer the door and speak to those who come knocking. We're looking out for those who aren't human, trying to give shelter to our fellow man without welcoming in the hidden monsters who seek to kill us. But the art style makes that impossible. Everyone looks somewhat uncanny. Their proportions exaggerated, their features just different enough to creep you out, but not in that over-the-top sort of way. We wake up to a knock on the door, and peeping through the hole, we see our neighbor, here to warn us about the monsters draped in human skin, to look to the news for any information about how to identify them. The first day is rather brief. We simply drink the rest of the day away, and once night comes around, our neighbor leaves with his young daughter. A knock on our door, and we peer through to see a lanky, tall man. He's blunt, direct, but needs a place to stay. A drunk, a barfly. He was kicked out for his temper. We can shoo him away, but being alone is dangerous. Like the neighbor said, something is coming around and preying on those who are alone. We take a risk every time, but we welcome him inside. We don't know what to look out for yet, of course. Shortly, another knock. A woman, frazzled and scared. The asphalt has melted under her feet, the sun threatening to eat her alive. She tells us she was kicked out of her own house by visitors, forced to roam and search for safety. She's so scared, seemingly unable to even focus on her own thoughts. I can't help but pity her, so we'll let her in, provide shelter at least just for the night. The night goes by silently. Peering through the windows, you can see some teenagers lingering by the fence, idling chit-chatting as the night moves on. The night, besides the conversations of the children outside, is dead silent. Eerily so. Even the local alcoholics have vacated the streets, leaving the streets barren, dead. In the morning, we watch the news, warning everyone to stay inside during the day. Visitors climb out from the underground, or perhaps they're aliens, but one way to identify them is white, flawless teeth. Just white teeth? It's something at least, although shaky ground for sure. We can ask our guests to show us their teeth, or just try and gather some more information. After all, some might know more, others might just know different information. Our barfly doesn't know much about the visitors, nothing more than we do. But he's angry and frustrated as he shows us his teeth. He's in the clear, they're nice but not pearly white, not unnaturally so. Our neurotic guest, cowering in the cupboard, answers any questions we have about how to identify visitors, about how this all even happened, but her answers aren't very helpful at all. Seems she knows less than we do. She doesn't argue when we ask to see her teeth, and a quick peek at them chompers reveals they're sparkling white, cleaner than any we've seen. A gut reaction, we pull out our shotgun and debate whether she's a visitor or not. But just having good teeth isn't worth a death sentence. We'll keep our eyes on her. One night comes round, we begin the ritual of checking each window. The one nearest to our bedroom door, we see the neighbor and his daughter playing outside, seemingly trying to make the best out of the time they have. We can't help but feel nostalgic and bittersweet at the sight of it. The next window, however, tears any happiness or sweetness from us as we see the teenagers lying dead on the ground. Someone, or something, came and killed them recently. It wasn't the sun that got them. It was something dangerous. Something, we realize, that is still in front of our house. As we check the third window, we see it. A man pale as death itself, whose skin looks like it wasn't meant for him. It's baggy, ill-fitting, hanging off him like an oversized suit. His eyes are pitch black, hollow pits. And that smile, it's the smile of a monster, of a predator who recently killed his prey. We can only pray that he doesn't approach the house, and that we'll be able to survive. At the door comes a new stranger, a man wearing a thick jacket and a sweater in this horrible heat. Yet he's claiming the heat doesn't bother him, and he just wants to find a quiet place. It's suspicious. He seems more than okay not staying, and refuses to take off the jacket, as if he's hiding something. We don't trust it and send him away. Before he leaves, he asks if we can shoot him, spotting gunpowder residue on our hands. Rattled by this interaction, we turn away and await the next knock. An overweight man with a lazy eye comes speaking about the end days, that the sun shall cleanse us of our sins, and shall burn away all the filth of humanity's flaws. It's bizarre, but it makes sense as a coping mechanism, or maybe he's just crazy. Either way, he doesn't seem very aggressive, and hey, listening to his crazy rambling sounds like a fun time. So we grant clemency to our conspiratorial fellow. Assuming we've already met and spoken to everyone who will come tonight, we turn away from the door, only to hear the sound of another knocking, and through the peephole we see a bald man. We are the witnesses. Too bad for that, he says. He has us pick a place in his book to read his future, and we choose the top paragraph. The dead will come and tell, and he will not be believed. What that means is a mystery to us both, but with that foreboding premonition read aloud, he takes his leave, and we are standing alone once more. Out of reflex, we check the window again, and still see that thing standing in the road, watching us, its gaze boring into us. A shiver runs down our back, and as we retreat to our bedroom, we can't help but struggle to sleep. The news wakes us. The sun is still singeing the earth and seems to only be getting worse, with the presence of visitors growing more prominent as well. FEMA, an organization run by the government, has taken charge and begun sharing some more information about the visitors. FEMA, standing for Federal Emergency Management Agency, has reported that visitors can be identified in addition to the pale white teeth with dirt caked under their nails. Another somewhat shaky thing to go on, but it's something to try and figure out what to do next. Time to speak to our guests and check for signs, along with whatever information they may have to share. Our energy is limited, the heat making us drowsier, much easier. We cannot be as thorough as we would like. We make conversation with our barfly before checking his nails, and of course, he checks out. We can be rather certain he's not a visitor, though of course, he brings up a good point. A visitor can just wash his hands thoroughly, and they'll be hidden. But to get underneath the nail bed is a bit different. Either way, our ways of checking if someone is a visitor is not cut and dry. It's always possible to condemn the innocent and wave off the guilty. Moving on to the cashier, we approach the cowering lady and ask to see her nails, before seeing, yeah, they're caked with dirt. She seemingly has no memory of even touching the ground, Same with how she couldn't recall the last time she had been to the dentist. Yet here, she demonstrates both signs. It's fairly safe to assume she is a visitor, but I can't do it. She hasn't hurt anyone yet. Even she seems absolutely dumbfounded by it. I can't help but pity her. But if she hurts someone, we can't stand by it. One last day. Lastly, we talk to our conspiratorial guest, the chunky man sitting in the bathroom. His skin is yellowed, his eyes as well. He even speaks as if he's not human, referring to us as human, which is either a huge red herring or the most obvious visitor ever. Checking his teeth, although he's missing a few, it is startlingly white. He claims he drinks beer, good for calcium, but it's iffy. We won't shoot yet, we have to check his fingernails. He claims he got his nails adjusted to the sunlight and for opening beer cans. But his nails are clean. There isn't a speck of dirt underneath a single nail bit. He checks out in that regard, but we'll keep our eye on him. Exhausted once more, we head to bed and stir awake to see a knocking on our door once more. As we continue our ritual of checking each window, we see FEMA agents surrounding our neighbor's house, though what they're doing is anyone's guess. Possibly setting up base? Or possibly taking soil samples? It's good to see someone trying to make sense of this nightmare. But looking outside, we see the bodies of those children burned to a crisp, and 2 emergency workers, completely covered in head to toe, writing something down in their notes. On one hand, it's a relief that someone can come and attend to the dead, to clean the corpses. Otherwise, who knows what kind of pathogens could spread. But the sight of those children first murdered, then their corpses fried to a charred crisp, it sickens us. Looking through the last window, we see that there's armed guards outside. They're talking about a pale man with an exposed torso. We recognize that immediately. They're talking about that terrifying creature who stood outside last night. Thank God, it seems someone's willing to protect us. We can trust in them to take care of the visitors at the very least. Approaching the door, we see... Oh no. Oh God, no. It's here. He's here. The saggy-skinned beast, his teeth so vicious and pale, his hands clasped as if politely asking a simple question. Who are you?
How's it going here? Everything okay?
What do you want?
Listening. Are you alone in the house? Just curious. You're just reading someone's fortune, promising salvation to some, driving some away?
I have other people taking shelter here. A beat of silence. His sadistic smile drops as he responds.
You're lucky tonight. I can hear someone whispering in your rooms. But who knows what will happen tomorrow?
He walks away, and we feel a bead of sweat drip down our forehead. Our breath shakes as we regain our composure. He was what we were warned about, why we cannot be alone. Otherwise, visitors, intruders like him, will pick us off one by one, until there's nothing left but monsters and the dead. We take a moment to answer the next knocking, nervous about who or what we may see. Our eyes rest upon a weary woman, carrying an emaciated man, either passed out or dead. She asks to take shelter. She looks so tired. In asking about the man, she reveals it was her husband. He's dead, and she cannot give him a proper burial, so she instead holds on to his body. If she doesn't find shelter soon, she'll collapse, and we know that visitor is around. He could pick her off. So, although it's probably not the best choice, we let her in. She says she won't stay long. She just needs a place to sleep. We can give her that at least. But we'd prefer she didn't keep a corpse in her house for very long. Letting her inside and giving her a hand with the corpse, she collapses in our bathroom, where we hear the next set of knocks. Peering through, we see an odd man. one wearing a silly shirt and claiming to be scheming up a great way to make some money. Money? The world is hell, the sun is either exploding or punishing us, and he thinks about money? Disgusted with the idea of having someone trying to scam our guests, and the way he smiles so repulsively at the thought of screwing over others, we slam the door in his face. He curses us out on his way, but we frankly just don't care. Have fun trying to scam your way into another shelter, asshole. We cool off before answering the door the next set of knocking, and to our surprise, we see a tall yet tired old man wearing a doctor's coat. He simply asks for a place to stay and admits that a house with so many people in it is such a rare sight nowadays. How some drink the worries away, some scream and sob, and some quietly accept the end. Inquiring about where he came from, he tells us he's a traveling doctor, having fled from hospitals. Overcrowded, he says, undoubtedly chaotic. He's a surgeon, he shares, although a surgeon at an underfunded hospital, so he had picked up many other skills as well. Skills that, honestly, would be very, very helpful in this kind of situation. If this is a visitor's cover, then we would assure he's taken care of. But this is too good to pass up, so we allow him inside, waving him in as he remarks how he hopes to help someone here. With that, the night goes still. The streets are empty, and there looks to be no one else coming tonight. Yet, for some reason, we hear a knock at the door, yet when we look, we cannot see anything or anyone. Shaken, we head back to our room and attempt to sleep. The morning news wakes us once more, and we rub the sleep from our eyes as we hear that voice of the dweeby newscaster. It sounds like FEMA has secured quarantine zones, where the people who are showing signs of being a visitor are required to be sent to. The idea of sending these people to a specialized zone, just off of suspicions, seems immoral. But we can only hope they have our best interests in heart. Apparently, visitors are ill people who just need some special help and care. But that doesn't sound right. We remember the visitor from last night. How his skin hung off his body as if it wasn't his. How those eyes peered into our soul. How those teeth were so white and perfect, twisted into that monstrous grin. We tremor for a second before hearing a new sign to look out for. Irritated, intensely bright red eyes, apparently caused by exposure to the sun. But doesn't that seem like a bit of a stretch? How many people here had irritated eyes from the sun, or just from crying, or just had dry eyes? It was a bit of a stretch, and we're rather hesitant to pull the trigger on anyone. Thankfully, it seems like everyone has made it through the day. No bodies to discover. Everyone's okay. As we start to leave the bedroom, we hear the news. Fires are raging, the largest humanity has ever faced. Firefighters are trying to combat it, but the threat of visitors has had many pulled away. Like what our friend the barfly had said, it truly seems to be hell on earth. We make the rounds and check on each person. First, our friend the barfly, who we don't even bother to check for signs of visitor. If he was one, he would have killed us already, since we can assume the cashier is also one. She hasn't killed anyone either, so either she's outnumbered or she just can't hurt anyone. As we walk through the house, we hear whispers against the cabinet door, hushed in multiplied tones. Opening it, we see that thankfully the old man has made it through the night, and our anxious visitor is still on the floor, running dirty fingers through her hair. We ask, of course, to see her eyes, to see if the red eyes really is a sign of a visitor. And even she seems to have accepted the fact that she likely isn't human. I can't help but pity her as she shows us her red, agitated eyes, watching as she sadly but defeatedly remarks how she would be dead now. Fear quakes her voice, never steady or strong, and that fear prevents us from pulling the trigger. We may be endangering everyone, but she hasn't hurt anyone. Perhaps this visitor issue isn't as cut and dry as we believed. Confused, in defeat, we move away, and we don't even do our due diligence today. Instead, assuredly having doomed us all, we drink our concerns away and pass out in our bed. Perhaps death will take us and punish us for our sin of empathy. A knock at the door pulls us from our drunken slumber. and shoving a bottle out of the way, we stumble to the front door, where we peer out to see a man in a gas mask, completely covered from head to toe. It's FEMA. They're here to help us. We aren't exactly sure we can trust them, but they're the closest thing to safety and security in these times, and he even shows us his ID in case we didn't believe him. And yeah, this is a FEMA operative, here to investigate, to take care of us. They will take one of us with them at random. We have no choice in the matter, and agreeing, we feel both relieved and devastated to see our neurotic visitor has been taken with them. Her expression so scared. She was definitely a visitor. Who knows what they'll do to her? It's not exactly like we have a choice, so we allow her to be taken with them. They say they'll test to see if she has suffered any solar radiation, and if we are in a dangerous place, they'll take us away from here to safety. And if we aren't, they'll return our friend to us, but we doubt they'll do either of those things. Either way, we close the door and contemplate our actions. She's out of here. We'll be safe from potential attacks, but we can't help feel a pang of guilt as they walk away. Holding our head against the door, we take deep breaths and try to still ourselves. That is, until we feel a knocking against the wood, and sighing, we peer out to see a suspicious-looking man. His eyes are rather uncanny. He speaks so freely about how strength will rule the world, that beasts are the nature of the world. He seems dangerous, looks even more so. Our gut screams distrust, so we keep the door shut to him. Ominously, he tells us to watch the news before departing, and we take a moment to ourselves before answering the next trio of knocks. To our shock, it's the little girl, our neighbor's daughter, the one who came to fetch him, the one who we saw playing in the field outside. She's sobbing, demanding to be let in, and when we ask what happened, she's struggling to speak. Soon, she chokes out the words, "Her daddy is dead." We open the door and offer her some water, trying to soothe the child as we hear what she has to say. Her dad had let someone inside, and they had been sitting together in the kitchen until he did something and then set the house ablaze. She came running here, and the visitors have been laughing as the house burned down. Of course, we welcomed her inside, urging her to drink some water to try and calm down. Poor girl. We lead her in and help her get comfortable before hearing another set of knocking. Looking out there, we see a bearded man hunched over and tired. He, like the widowed woman, needs a place to rest for the night. Safety just for a while. We ask about his lack of weapon, given his vocal determination to kill visitors, but he claimed his gun was taken in the night and they tried to shoot him dead. A bit suspicious, why wouldn't they just kill him? But they also just taunted the little girl she had run away. A bit nervously, we allowed him to come in. Maybe he'll be helpful to find visitors. We haven't even finished letting the man inside before a woman walks up, remarking about how she's trying to save herself. We ask her initially, why was she kicked out? Turns out FEMA had taken her and everyone from her block away, claiming there was a sunstroke there. They took some, left others to scavenge and fend for themselves. On one hand, it seems a bit suspicious to have been displaced by that. FEMA doesn't seem to be the type. But on the other hand, they did just approach to take someone from us. And the way that things have been handled, from what we've heard on the TV, hasn't exactly lined up with reality. Making these kinds of decisions hurts our heads, but we decide to let her in, not having a good reason to push her away. With that, we close and lock the door and take a moment to just process what has all happened. Our neighbor, our friend, is dead. His daughter, at the very least, is safe here. Our only known visitor is gone, although we don't want to think about what will happen to her. But to our knowledge, we only have humans. We'll be safe. About to walk back to bed, we pause and instead take a look through the window closest to us, the reverse of our usual routine. Whatever safety we had felt vanished the second we see. All of those soldiers who had come here to protect us are dead. One is even decapitated. The urge to vomit raises as we stare, watery-eyed as it sinks in. The pale man must have done this. visitors can do this? Slaughter so many, and these men stood the greatest chance. Definitely stood a better chance than we do. We're just people. It takes a lot to move our feet, to face the next window, and we're hesitant to peer through the blinds. As we do, our blood runs cold. There he stands, the pale man, the monster masquerading as a human. In his hand, we see the proof of his misdeeds. A head, a young man who was torn apart, his horrified expression frozen forever on his face. He's taunting us. Disgusted, terrified, we flee from the window and force our legs to move us forward over to the next window. And we verify the little girl's story. Someone lit their house aflame. The smoldering wreck confirmed that there could be no survivors beyond the young girl. This night, this day, we go to bed with tears in our eyes and clutching a pillow, our body full of dread and fear. We're awoken by the scent of dried blood and death. Someone has been killed. Something is inside the house. And knowing that one visitor hadn't hurt us, likely outnumbered, we're suspicious it can only be 2 people. We watch the news through fogged eyes, our thoughts sprinting through our mind. But from the TV, we hear a very interesting new way to find a visitor. Photography. With an instant camera, we can take a picture and see for ourselves if it's blurry or not. Locating our camera, we steel ourselves to search for the body and begin our search. We're not sure who it is, but our barfly is safe, as we confirmed once we check his room. Our newcomer is safe too, and leaving to the kitchen, there we see just who had been killed. We can't even express the words. That child who just wanted somewhere to be safe. We had let in the monsters who took her. Collapsing onto the ground and clutching the young girl's body, we sob over our mistake. We did this. We let them in. We should have been more careful, more restrictive. Our mistake cost her everything. Our hands bloodied with the stains of our failures. We hold our shotgun tight and narrow our eyes as we glare up at the man in the kitchen with us. He was let in the same night as she was. Only 3 were let in, and it took 2 visitors to feel safe enough to kill. The bearded man speaks as we approach, talking about how he would like to go on killing visitors. But we're very clearly over it. Nails. Show them now. He does, but first he makes an excuse. He digs visitors up out of the ground. It makes killing them easier. Cynically, we nearly give in to our urge to shoot him, to blame him. He was new, he was unsafe. But we can't just kill someone over dirty nails. Teeth. We demand to see his teeth. And we see his teeth are unnaturally clean. Someone with his lifestyle, who is always on the move, never in one place, wouldn't have the time to keep up such impeccable oral hygiene. We don't hesitate this time, and we blow his head off. We don't even know if he was a visitor, his body turned into gore and bloody viscera from the impact of the shotgun. We aren't done here. Doubling back, we visit the other newcomer, and with dull eyes, we dismiss her attempts to plead to not let anyone else inside. We don't have the patience. We don't care to hear excuses or anything. Photo. Thankfully, she doesn't argue, and we ensure we stay still and take the picture. And as the photo sets and develops, we see the background is completely clear, but she isn't. You can't even see her properly, smudged and distorted. That's it. We don't even hesitate to pull the trigger this time, and as we do, we hear her threaten us. They'll smear you too. A disgusting cackle leaves her before we get rid of her, and as we do, the adrenaline begins to leave and the fog of revenge has dissipated. We killed 2 people. No, 2 visitors. We did what we had to do, right? We need a drink. Grabbing a beer from the fridge, averting our gaze from the corpses that stain our kitchen, we take several bottles before retreating to our room and drink the rest of the day away. This is it, surely. The end of days. What else is left? More knocking wakes us. Our body just moves by itself at this point as the routine goes. We don't even look through the window at our left at this point, just wanting to ignore the decimation of our neighbor's life and family. We do, however, check the second window to see if that visitor is still outside the house. No way he could take the heat from the day. He has to have left by now. And thankfully he has. In his place, however, he has stabbed that head from yesterday into a pike, a display, a threat. The shock of it, however, doesn't hit as much as it did yesterday, and that revelation of that sickens us. Peering out the last window, nothing much has changed, except for, well, a body hung from the lamp pole, and a sign, "Visitors aren't welcome." He didn't look like a visitor, but the idea that they had hung an innocent man without even knowing it, that idea haunts us more, and as we approach our front door, realize just how much this town has changed, how much it has been twisted by paranoia and fear. Just like us. The FEMA agent is back and hasn't brought the cashier with him as we expected. It was likely a death sentence to go with them, and they demand another. The testing pool is too small, he says, but we hold the door firm. You don't understand. We aren't asking. You can't say no. In the end, it doesn't matter how we try to hold the door closed. He gets in anyways and takes one of our guests. The widow leaves with the FEMA agent, leaving her husband's corpse here with us as they descend into the night. She seems too tired and drained to even fight back. Closing the door and locking it tight, we hear a new knocking. Although we would just like to ignore it and go to bed, we peek anyway. There it stands, the monster. The one who tore through all of those soldiers, those poor innocent men.
What do you think of the one in the suit?
He asks, his posture polite but his words dripping with deviance. I don't know.
What's not to know?
A pause. We consider an answer, but he then waves it off.
Okay, anyway, I don't care.
Look, can you leave?
Yeah, sure. I just didn't think you had any trouble talking to me. But first, are you alone in the house right now?
Our eyes narrow, defiant, as we answer back. I have other people taking shelter here. There is a pause, but his smile doesn't drop like before. Instead, he simply continued speaking as if we hadn't spoken at all.
Getting ready? Do you know what you're getting ready for? It's the last days, didn't they tell you? Dogs rule the world, and only dogs will be here.
The smile drops, and his eyes are dark.
Enjoy your stay.
With that, he leaves, and we let out a breath. A beat of silence, we stand and contemplate before hearing that knocking, to see that bizarre wanderer has returned. We're surprised to see him, to see he's alive, but he simply continues to speak so cryptically. He remarks that he'll just continue to wait and watch. Nothing else to do. And with that cryptic sentence, he leaves, and we're left alone once more. It is no longer safe to live on the face of the earth. We board up the windows and barricade the doors. After conferring with our tenants, we decide not to go into the outside world anymore. We pray, helplessly, that someday this will all be over, if this nightmare ever ends. At the very least, we can have peace in mind knowing that we only have humans under our roof. The world of this concept game is bleak and paranoia-inducing, and every aspect of it just furthers that. The music, as the days and nights go by, becomes darker, more flawed and deformed, like an old and weathered cassette tape. The visuals, as we talked about before, are near uncanny, stretched and unnatural, and very stylized. It's an art style that really pulls you in, and it was certainly part of what drew me to the game in the first place. I mean, I wouldn't be doing stills in this video otherwise. And the music alone is enough to pull anyone in, haunting yet nostalgic. The demo is coming out in a few short days. About a week from writing this, and Triokaz has done quite a bit to help drum up excitement. The most bizarre being the ARG. Oh yeah, the ARG! The first of these is this image, a rather easy one to solve. Just put them together and you'll get the message. The message is a video link. We'll put this aside as we search through the second one, but there are 3 videos in total. On their Steam page, they posted this image, with a little sticker on the bottom of a Roman emperor. This, of course, is a Caesar cipher, and by using this, we can decipher that this is a URL, a quick link, one that takes us to this app/site. One where the amogus guy is wearing a suit, and anytime we click, he just talks more and more about how he wants money. He really wants money. And he makes that really, really clear. So we give him what he wants with those zany digits, and oh, look at that! He gave us a link. We'll bookmark that for later on as well. But in order to get the third link, we're gonna have to do something very special. And by special, I mean tedious. You see that number on the bottom? The one that goes up as we click? Yeah, you see where this is going. After clicking 1,000 times, we are able to buy a map, and from there we can go to the kitchen, where, oh hey, our barfly is here and talking about games. Mine was bugged, but he's supposed to give some hints about it, and we just answer his question and receive our last video link. And these videos? Well, they're behind the scenes teasers. The first is a visual test, and it just shows the updated house with better lighting and visuals, along with UI adjustments and more movement, making the game seem less rigid. The light pours through the windows even during the day, really adding to the atmosphere. A simple but really exciting look into how the game will look and feel. Our second video is the shortest out of the 3, but definitely has the most content. Every second or so, an image flashes on the screen. Sneak peeks of new characters we'll meet later on. And the entire time we follow this adorable little flat-faced kitty, who will also be joining us in the full game. Also, here we get another taste of, this weird pairing. And as for the third video, it's just a pixelated image on the bed and a zoom in on the TV. If it has any deeper meaning, we don't know what it is yet. But those 3 are just tastes of things to come. As Triokaz gets more into how to set up RNGs and continues to work on their absolutely amazing games. No, I'm Not a Human is an absolutely amazing proof of concept, and with the demo coming out so soon and release for 2025, it's definitely one I'll be getting my hands on and enjoying thoroughly for a long time to come, especially since they're bringing it to PlayStation, really increasing the accessibility of it. If you guys haven't played it yet, I cannot encourage it enough. I'll have a link to its Steam page in the description and to the VHS anthology as well. What was the main message and the whole point of this video? Support indie devs. Support awesome ideas. And whatever you do, do not let them in.